Hi, I'm Chris, and this is day 3 of the daily gift series that I'm working on. This is a 90-day challenge where I'm going to attempt to holistically provide my body with neurological, fascial, and cardiovascular health benefits at the start of every day, and see how that lends itself to a healthier, more whole life style in general. I will say that after, the first 2 days, I find myself just having more energy and making healthier decisions about what I'm eating, what I'm spending my time doing. I've been watching far less TV and playing less video games, been reading more, been studying more, been more focused, too, on like planning things out in terms of school assignments, which is I'm usually a procrastinator, so it's been interesting to see the shift from procrastination to a more proactive mindset in just a few days. Ultimately, the goal is to live a life free of pain and free of, I don't want to say stress, but anxiety, I think. Because stress is part of being alive, right? A dog barks or a car horn honks, and all of a sudden, boom, your sympathetic nervous system kicks in. You get scared, right? But the point is that if our brains and our bodies are working the way they're intended to, we should be able to take in stress, kind of process it, and move on, right? Free of anxiety. And the same can be said about, um, what is it? Anxiety is worrying about the future. Depression is worrying about the past, right? I think that's a quote. I'm going to double check that. But we can also be free of worry of the past and letting past impacts continue to inform our decision making in the present, as long as we have the energetic resources. Um, I don't mean, if like some grand or some grand idea of energy. I mean quite literally, like our brains have the ability to work in the present. That the parts of the brain that are designed to operate in the present moment are actually have the proper brainwave patterns. Um, anyway, so here we go. 31 minutes of holistic, um, health-minded choices in a daily gift. So I'm going to do a guided meditation, some foam rolling, and then finish it off with some breath work. And as always, when I have the time, since it's the weekend, I'm going to do a little bit of yoga afterwards, but I'm not going to record that. But I think that's important to document. Um, yeah, all right, here we go. Also, I'm going to be using headphones today because I realize now that playing that guided meditation out loud is not a good idea for copyright reasons. So I'll have to also edit those old videos. So, so let's get on. Oh, whew. All right. One thing that occurred to me during that meditation is the human body is really an example of a far greater power. Like it depends. I'm not trying to be religious about this because I'm not personally of any specific religion. But if God, connects with someone, I feel a connection to a divine presence when I think about just how remarkable my body is, its ability to heal, the fact that it grew from a single cell organism, an embryo inside my mom into this person that is now. I find an incredible acknowledgement of divinity and, you know, a level of intelligence that's on a universal scale. Um, and when I sit here and do a guided meditation and I listen to the words and I feel the capacity for my brain to change the way that it works, for my body to change the way that it works. I think back to as a child, I didn't have any hardwired habits. And based on, both nurture and nature, what my inclinations were and what was presented to me, I developed habits. And I really want to let go of a lot of them. The playing of video games, is something I want to let go of. The watching of a lot of television on like a regular schedule, especially when I'm eating, is something that I want to let go of. I want to be able to just sit and enjoy my food. Maybe listen to a podcast or even call a friend. I do think talking while eating is something I miss from being home. Um, but yeah, like we're never, whether, it's addiction or depression or anxiety, like these are all things that slowly over time, we actually have to thank our minds and our brains for developing the ability to do what we want to do with that information, whether or not we're conscious of making that decision. Ultimately, we develop these habits, right? And these neural connections, right, that make us really, really efficient at doing things, even if they're things that aren't good for us. We become really efficient at it. And it's like you have to have a level of consciousness to say, like, okay, this is a divine tool. I have no idea how it got created, or really, I don't have the manual necessarily on how it works, but I do know how to use it, right? And I'm learning more and more, this is day three, but um, I'm learning more and more that this is about learning to use this tool to accomplish and be what I want to be. And that's someone who's incredibly present and incredibly whole from all avenues of the body and the mind. Um, anyway, that just occurred to me. So now I'm gonna do some foam rolling to help my fascial network be more at ease and hold my cells more comfortably, um, instead of maybe tightly like a little baby. Where do I put my foam roller here? All right, as always, need to set an alarm here. I will forget. Okay, timer, 10 minutes. Yeah. Oh my God. I always carry a ton of tension in my sacrum, so I tend to focus there a little bit and in my shoulders. So I kind of go slow at those areas where I'm feeling a lot more tension. It's funny, this right shoulder, I should say this, as a progress thing. I'll have to start highlighting things in these videos, but this right shoulder feels a lot better today. Oh my gosh, yeah, it's a lot less crunchy. It's a lot smoother, and the glide just feels better. Like it's, yeah, wow. A little bit around the like mid thoracics though, at the like the lower, yeah, the lower portion of the scapula now I'm feeling more tension. Which as soon as I released that, actually led to the release of tension in my traps. That's interesting. Can't get too bogged down focusing on one place, but I could spend just 10 minutes doing this, I think. Ultimately, that would be to my benefit, you know? These are just some stretches to reverse some hyperkyphosis in my thoracic spine, which is really from the overuse of video games and cell phones. Next, I'm just going to get a little bit of pressure into the sacrum. Just hold it there. It's just kind of a nice gentle stretch to reform a natural lordotic curve in the lumbar spine. Our spine needs to have these curves because it's what helps us withstand gravity and be held in place, especially when we're standing without these forces being compressive on our discs. So it's interesting when you lose these curves, the discs in between each vertebrae, they take greater and greater pressure, and it's a bit of a snowballing effect. I will say, like, none of this, in my opinion, is truly irreversible. There's degrees, right? Like you may only be able to get back a certain amount of motion. Um, I don't like to think in terms of those limiting things though. Like any improvement should make you able to improve even more, technically. Yeah, there's a ton of tension. It's interesting in my shoulders, there's less tension, but in this, mid back where the lumbar meets the thoracic, there was a ton of tension just now. That's, a change. Whereas up into my upper thoracics, lower cervicals, much less tension today than usual. So definitely things are changing. I'm just going to traction my neck a little bit here. I want to see, yeah, much less tension to the neck. That's really interesting. I'm also going to do my subscapular area. This is one that I do not recommend to go all your body weight when you're first just doing this because it's very sensitive. You might pinch something rather than provide ease. So I even take a little bit of weight off, yeah, because even putting the full weight on this wouldn't feel good. My God, is that such a good area? Oof. Oh, other side. This side isn't as tight, so I can actually put my full weight. Except, yeah, I just found a spot where it's a little more sensitive. So, all right, on to the chest. I just want to check my time. Yeah, I'm already halfway done. Wow. All right, so the rest of this is going to be a lot faster. I'm telling you, I can really just get into my paraspinal muscles and just go to town. It feels so good. But really, the chest is something I need to focus on more. It's so tight. Oh my God. There's actually other ways to get into this chest area. There's things called trigger point balls that, are, I'd say, more targeted. Like if there's one specific spot that you want to get at, using a trigger point ball is better. Whereas if you just want a broader contact, the foam roller is better. Forearms. And the forearms much less tight today, at least on the outside, but the inside, yeah, I wish I could get some better rotation. I'm gonna have to find a better way to get this like spot right here because that's still very tight. But this feels a lot better. Let me check here. This feels good. We'll say like on my right hand, it's a little bit tight. Using the cell phone, and I use the computer a lot actually for school this last week. So yeah, I'm feeling the time crunch right now. I'm gonna have to rush through the legs. So I think what I'll do is just focus on my quads. Either that or actually I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna transfer 5 minutes from the breath work to doing this foam rolling because one of the beautiful things about doing yoga for even a few minutes is that you can essentially turn it into breath work. I could easily replace the breath work section of this with yoga. However, I do like keeping it as it's less strenuous on the body. And really what I'm trying to accomplish here is giving myself a gift, not a chore. And so until yoga is something that feels like isn't strenuous and that my body gets really good at doing, right now it still feels like active exercise rather than passive and easy, I think. Yeah. Kind of getting into the groin area here a little bit because I was on that machine at the gym. It killed me a little bit in this area. That feels really good. One thing I will say, like, I already feel more comfortable on the foam roller after dedicating like specific time to using it. I've been foam rolling my whole life, but I have never been so adamant about doing it every day, and I already feel like more natural on it. And what's cool is like just like if you're a massage therapist, over time you get better at massaging people's muscles, you get more efficient. I already feel like better at doing this too. This area a little bit, yeah. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, I love the adductor and abductor machine at the gym. I tend to always do it when I'm there, even if it's just for like 10 reps, just because I'm also I'm gonna transfer 5 minutes from breathwork into this because this just feels too good right now. And also I don't want to necessarily do every stage of the breathwork that I've been doing. I want to just stick to like the first two, so it actually works out pretty well because the last two have been feeling less like a gift and more like a job. Actually, I'm forgetting the glutes. This is something that, especially the glute medius, which is why I do this figure four, kind of open that area up and lean onto it. This is like one of those like golden muscles. Like when you go to body workers, like some of them will swear by this, that this helps relieve like sciatic pain and not that I necessarily have that, but I'd like to prevent getting it, right? So and this is like it feels, it's like one of those feels so good, like I can tell it was sore because this muscle is like what allows us to stand on one leg, for example, which is an example of balance. So this muscle is like really involved in our balance while walking. What I will say too is like looser glutes provide, this is something maybe I'll do like a talk on, like a whole video. Um, our bodies, like our muscles, don't exist separately, even though that's the way we're taught to think of them. Like really, we're just one big muscle. Um, and so like your glutes affect your hamstrings, affect your quads, affect your low back, like your quadratus lumborum, um, affect your abdominal muscles. Like they're all connected, and so a lot of the times if somebody's experiencing low back pain, um, can relieve it by working with the glutes. So you're doing some fascial release on a foam roller, some more active release, through like the ART method or Rolfing, which is very similar, or even just stretching. Oh, oh my God. This is always the killer. I'm able to put more weight on this today, actually, especially closer to the Achilles heel. I will say, like, one thing I notice about myself is right, like where the soleus meets at the top of the calf. Like, that's where a lot of my tension is. And so I think I'm going to have to, like, look into how to, you know, relieve the soleus tightness. Or maybe it's that the gastrocnemius muscle and the soleus are actually, like, connected and being interlocked by some sort of adhesive material from an injury or from something, chronically in terms of sitting, maybe the way I've been sitting. But I really, yeah, like now that I'm doing this every day, like I'm noticing patterns. And like this left one always, the yeah, that area right there, which I have to look at my anatomy book, but I think is right where the soleus, yeah, and the gastrocnemius like can get kind of crisscrossed. All right. And now, actually, I can do 6 minutes of breath work. So this on 6 minutes. And we're gonna do a little breath work now. Oh. Again, any breath work technique will do. At least, I mean, I'm sure all of them have different benefits. I'm going to choose to continue to do the SRI one, specifically the first two stages. if I'm being completely honest. I'm so hungry that right now all I can think about is what I'm gonna eat after this. So let me just reconnect and get grounded for a second here. One thing that I've learned in terms of getting reconnected and getting present is to develop like a a ritual almost, or like something that a spiritually inclined psychotherapist taught me is you can almost like trigger your brain to do it if you always do the same thing. So what I do is I pump my left fist and then I take a deep breath in and out, telling myself that I'm going to recenter. And because I've created a habit out of that, it actually, every time I do it, it gets better results. So all right. So that's a 30-minute gift for today. I have to say that first of all, I feel amazing, and what I'm noticing too is like, even though it's just day three, I maybe am 5% better at not just maybe I'm 5% like more whole, but I'm also 5% better at doing this, and so it's starting to cascade where like I'm already feeling better and I'm better at doing it, so I'm feeling like better results each day. It's like having a oh my God, I'm forgetting math right now. Exponential effect, yeah, rather than purely linear. Um, is there anything I want to say right now? Okay, it's late in the day on a Saturday. It's already 11:30, so this isn't really as early as I've been doing it, which has been like 6 a.m. and I'm starving. So I will say like I was not as focused for the breath work, but that's okay. Until tomorrow.